Plays about to resume. 2:16 for 3. What a morning England have had here. And this is a great fight back from them. It really is. When you think of the position India were in at the close of the first day. Here is Jadeja to bowl the first ball after lunch. Bowls to Root, who stretches forward and plays it back up the offside of the pitch. And there is no run. 2:16 for 3 then. The new ball is 7 overs away, or 6 overs after this one is finished. Jadeja bowling to Root. Root gets the first run after lunch, tucking it backward a square. And so Root is into the 90s. So the chance here of back-to-back Saturday hundreds in Test cricket. 10 runs away. Zoltz is looking at me and saying, don't ask me the last time someone did that. There's something quite special about a Test match Saturday, normally the biggest crowd of the game, especially a Lord's Test match as well. But brilliant innings last week at Trent Bridge. But I did ask Zoltz to look up one thing, and we'll come to that in a moment. Here is Jadeja bowling to Bairstow. Bairstow comes stabbing forward in defence, plays it out to cover, and there's no run. And that was the last time two England batters went through a full session, without losing a wicket. Jonny Bairstow's on 51, Joe Root is on 90. They came together at 108 for 3. Bairstow drives into the offside powerfully, but a good diving save by Kohli away to his left-hand side. That was heading out to the Mangstand boundary for 4. Kohli intercepted. England 147 runs behind. Here is the Jadeja, walks to the crease, bowls to Bairstow, steps forward, plays it back down the pitch. Picked up by Jadeja off his own bowling. And there is no run. He does rattle through his overs, Jadeja. And Bairstow's almost not letting him do it. You're supposed to be ready, actually, when the bowler's ready. But here is Jadeja bowling to Bairstow. Bairstow clips it away towards short fine leg, and there's no run. You can see what they're trying to do here. They want to get through to the new ball. Jadeja just rattle through some overs very quickly. Okay, try and provide a threat as well, because there might be a bit in it. And we're just seeing that. We're just seeing on our monitors that the chap who came on, he's got the number 69 on the back of his shirt, and he's got Jarvo on it is the name, and he was out there among the Indian fielders. And when the steward challenged him, he said, "What, me? Of course I'm fielding this afternoon." Anyway, he was led away to the right of the Indian dressing room. 2:17 for 3. Mark Ramprakash is here after lunch.
Yeah, very good afternoon. And I've had a very nice lunch, actually. And I was just thinking, watching Joe Root run that single, he clearly didn't indulge himself in the famous Lord's lunches. He was far too sprightly. And normally, in years gone by, the players would have a really good lunch, and you'd always say to your partner just after lunch, well, not too many quick singles now.
Here is Siraj bowls a short ball, and Root goes after it. Did he get something on that? It's not taken cleanly by Pant away to his left-hand side. It was a short ball down the leg side. Root went for the pull, and there was some interest out there from some of the Indian fielders. Did he get anything on this? Difficult to tell, but Pant got there with his left glove, did not hold on. Might need to put the snicker on that, just to see if there was something on it, and that was a drop chance. Difficult one, but we'll see. Siraj bowls to Root, he's there on 90. Another short ball, and Root pulls out of a pull shot this time. And it's taken by Pant. There are, 3 men back. There's a deep forward square leg, and there's a fine leg, and they are on the boundary. And then a position you rarely see, which is a deepish backward square leg, 3/4 of the way back to the boundary. Jadeja lurking there, really. You just don't see that very often, that fielding position. And there's now a forward square leg as well, so the umpire's coming over from square leg to point. So clear tactics here from India, with the new ball not far away, just after lunch, trying something completely different. Leg theory. Siraj bowls, another short ball. Root goes after that and misses. Swatting pull shot. There's a polite appeal. I don't think I've ever seen a polite appeal being given out before. You've either got to go for it or not, really. I suppose you've got to appeal for the umpire to make a decision, and then of course you've got the review system, so if you think he's hit it, then you go for the review, although India have only got one left.
And normally you'd say that a short ball is well directed if it's at the batsman. We've seen two now go down the hill, down the leg side to Joe Root, and as he's followed the ball round, it's in danger of just getting his gloves.
Siraj, another short ball. Root does get onto it this time. Doesn't time it, the pull shot, but he's taking it on even with 3-4 men back. But he did hit that down, and he gets a single towards fine leg. I wonder if they have the same tactics for Bairstow. Root to 91. Well, you think they would, because Bairstow's prepared to take it on as well. He was out last week, caught on the deep square leg boundaries we mentioned earlier. Now, no wickets in a session, Andy, from England the last time, probably about 2 days ago.
Well, no, not two games ago. It was the Edgbaston test against New Zealand on day one. Burns and Sibley were batted through the first session. And it also happened in the Lord's Test, so it's actually the third wicketless session England have batted through this summer.
Siraj bowls to Bairstow, gets out the way of that. It wasn't a short ball, it was just back of a good length, and it's one of those that could have easily flicked the gloves, but Bairstow swiveled around and kept his gloves out of the way of it as it went down the leg side.
On day two of the Lord's Test against New Zealand, Burns and Root batted through. Scored 79 runs in the session, and Burns and Sibley day one at Edgbaston was 67th in order lunch.
Oh, it all started so well, didn't it, in Edgbaston for England? Here's Siraj bowling to Bairstow. Bairstow on his toes, knocks into the leg side, sets off for a single, then realises it's not there very quickly. Root was coming, but he very quickly got back, and there's no run. It's the end of the over. 218 for 3. 146 behind England.
That's quite good tactics from India, actually, because so often when you get close to that second new ball, you try and whip through a few overs, but you're on the defensive as a fielding side, not what's happening with the ball, and the batting side are looking to press on and score quickly. Well, you've got Jadeja on at one end, who, as you say, whips through his overs quickly, not easy to get hold of, and Siraj bowling plenty of short balls there to a leg theory field, and it just makes England think.
It's going to be Jadeja to continue. The sun's out. Brightened up again. Here is Jadeja bowling to Root. Root comes forward and guides it on the drive towards Kohli at extra cover. And there is no run. Jadeja's got this very short run, isn't it? Well, I say run. He walks to the crease. Here he goes now and bowls to Root. And Root plays a square drive at that and gets it out to deep cover. Down the slope, gets a single. And he moves to 92, so he'll be looking at 100 before the new ball if he possibly can. Remember, the new ball got him out last week. Out for 109, caught behind. 76th over, Bairstow comes forward, guides a single into the offside to the left of Kohli at cover. Takes his 52nd run, and England 220 for 3. 144 runs behind. Jadeja now to bowl to Root. Root turns it away towards short fine leg, offers the single to Bairstow. Bairstow says no, far too close to Mohammad Shami. They did take a quick single to Shami before lunch, but that would have been a very risky one. He was right on his toes there. Root stretches forward to Jadeja's latest delivery, blocks it to Kohli at extra cover, and there's no run. See the benefits of Jadeja, say for short form cricket, if you're just trying to whip through overs and you suddenly find them disappearing. Jadeja to Root, and Root plays to Kohli again, and that over is finished. I mean, it lasted about a minute and a half. You find that happening in one-day cricket, and the over's disappearing quickly.
Yeah, very quickly, balls, deliveries slip by, and he's a canny operator. Back on at the nursery end, because he did have a spell before lunch at the pavilion. Back at the nursery end, that will aid the ball spinning away from the right-hander, but he also gets the ball to kiss on and tends to bowl very much at the stump, so LBW is very much in play, but he's a canny customer. But how he generates the pace he does from such a short walk, most spinners, especially if they're wiry or young, they need a bit of a run-up to create that momentum to the crease, but to Jadeja, and that's one of the things that make him tricky to play, is his pace.
Siraj bowls short, Bairstow ducks underneath it, and it's through to punt. Now, has Bairstow made a policy decision here not to pull or hook? It looks like it, although sometimes a bit. Do you find yourself sometimes as a batter just playing a shot almost when you don't mean to.
Instinct.
Yeah.
Instinct can take over, absolutely, especially with the short ball, because when it gets banged in there, sometimes you see it and you go for it.
It's a really weird thing, but unless you've experienced it, here is Siraj going into bowl to Bairstow short ball, and he lets it hit him. And they could take a leg by there, but actually they weren't quite alive enough to it. Pant was after it towards short fine leg and picked it up, and they did not go through for a run. It's a really strange feeling as a batter. You get a short ball and you've pulled it for 4 or whatever before you've even thought about it. There's a lot of shots. I don't know. There seems to be a small thought process in them, but with the short ball, bang. I'm sure Zoltz, you feel that. You never play the forward defensive, right? Siraj from the pavilion end goes into bowl to Bairstow. It's short ball and he goes after it and he gloves it past the keeper. It's gone for 4. Well, he couldn't resist it. He felt though that was the ball to hit, and he got a bit lucky. There are 3 fielders in the deep waiting for a miscue, and that was a miscue, but it did not go to hand.
That's good cricket and good theatre. This is Siraj absolutely herring in, testing the middle of the pitch. Bairstow, having been hit the ball before, rather ungainly, evasive shot, that one deciding to go after it, but it's that line which is actually further down the leg side, and as the batsman swivels and follows the ball round, it's just catching the gloves. So he's giving Johnny Bairstow plenty to think about here. He did pull out of a few ones that bounced higher, and of course he has got the option to sort of stand up tall and play it and just drop it in the leg side, and there would be one there as well.
3 men back. This is good cricket, interesting cricket. Bairstow 56, Siraj bowls another short ball. Bairstow goes after it again, and again he sort of cuffs it away really. It might have been some glove in that. It goes down fine, and India have moved their fine leg finer, so it went straight to him, and it's only a single. Bairstow goes to 57. It's 225 for 3. Of course there have been some famous instances of batters succumbing to the short ball. Think of David Gower in the last over before lunch in a Ashes Test match. Geoffrey Boycott on this ground against the West Indies in the last over of the day back in the 1970s. Here is Siraj to Root, another short ball. That really is a ballooning bouncer way down the leg side, and Root was getting in position to play the shot. It looks as if he's prepared to take it on, but it was too far away from him, so in the end he ignored it.
We have 5 consecutive England batsmen out to the short ball against India on this ground in 2014.
Of course, yeah.
Ishant Sharma bowled into victory. It's now Bairstow's highest score in tests since his century in Sri Lanka in November 2018. He's had 31 innings since then, and his highest at home since the Lord's Test against India 3 years ago.
He's 57 not out. The non-strikers end. Root is 8 away from another 100. And this time Siraj bowls a full ball and Root blocks it, and mid-on is quite deep and perhaps back on his toes and thinking, I'm not in the game here because it's just short stuff. I can have a bit of a relax after lunch. And he was rather caught out by that.
Perhaps
Root
he
gets a single.
Perhaps Jasprit Bumrah at mid-on, perhaps he did indulge in the apple crumble.
Yeah, might have done. Yeah. It's that temptation, isn't it? That immediate sort of satisfaction, or that if you're playing the long game, you say no, and you feel better actually when you go back onto the field. What happened to you, Ramps? What did you do?
Well,
Bit of both?
I just adjusted the intensity of my running between the wickets after lunch, and I did indulge.
226 for 3. New over from Jadeja. So India are rattling through. They're getting through quickly at the end of the over as well. That one is pushed away by Root into the offside, picked up by Kohli. So there are 2.5 overs to go until the new ball is available. Root is 93 not out. Here is Jadeja bowling to Root, who dead bats that, gets that bat out to it. Bat and pad are close together. And Ramps was talking about the idea of just getting onto that front pad if you can, the left arm spinner, straightening one. That's pushed through by Jadeja, really fired through. Root's back in defence, playing it towards cover. And there's no run. That was 63 miles an hour from Jadeja, and that's quick for a spinner, it really is. And you think of someone like Matt Parkinson, who bowls at 48 miles an hour, the leg spinner. Let's just give you a comparison. Jadeja to Root. Root nudges it into the leg side, wants a single, it's not there. Siraj whips in the return, good piece of fielding. He's not on his heels. Bumrah was at the end of that last over. He's right on his toes. Root 93. Jadeja bowls to him. Root guides it away. There's his 94th run. Out towards deep cover. So here's a scenario. Siraj next over. Root on 94. Hook shot to bring him 100.
Well, it might be a top edge to go for 6.
We saw one, didn't we? He sent Rohit Sharma on the first day, top edge to 6 over fine leg. Jadeja bowls to Bairstow, push through flat again. Bairstow back into his stumps, playing defensively. There's no run. It's the end of the over. Another very quick over in terms of paces and in terms of time from Jadeja. That was 64 miles an hour. The last ball is 2:27 for 3. 2 overs to the new ball. Oh no, a no ball. Hold on. Everyone's been called back. And the third umpire checking it and signalling a no ball. Everyone was moving off towards their fielding positions for the next over. And let's have a look at that no ball from Jadeja. Yeah, well, his back foot is raised, but it was over the line. Oh, and he spins one. He spins one past the outside edge of Bairstow's bat. And did Pant take that clean and then drop it, or did he just drop it? I don't think there was an edge, because it spun quite a long way. That's the first one we've seen, really, today that's spun, which is encouraging if you're Moeen Ali or Ravi Jadeja bowling in the last innings, if we get to a fourth innings.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the spinners who bowl at that pace. Monty Panesar comes to mind, and that last delivery, 58 miles an hour, very difficult to get down the wicket to that. And Johnny Bairstow in the crease, just sort of groping forward. It was on a good length, angled in as with left arm angle, and turned away quite sharply. England will be aware they're trying to push on with this ball being 78 overs old. But India also very game aware, and you can see that there's some good athletes in the field. India aware to these quick singles, and a leg gully in place now for Siraj.
And 2 men back. Siraj bowls to Root, short, pulled away, guided pull, nicely controlled down towards fine leg. Majara is there, and a single to Root takes him to 95. It's 2:29 for 3. So Root moving towards what would be his, if he gets there, his 22nd Test 100. He's beginning to knock a few off the list as well in terms of centuries for England. If he does get there, I'm sure he will. Even if he doesn't today, he'll start to knock a few more off. Here is another short ball, and Bairstow ignores that, ballooning over the batter's head. So Cook is the leader with 33. And then it's Peterson 23 in second place, and there's Bell, Boycott, Cowdrey, Hammond on 22. So he'd go joint third in the list with 4 others. Still needs those 5 runs and 10 balls left with the old ball. This is Siraj going into bowl to Bairstow, another short ball. Bairstow ignores that one as well. And it's through to Pant. But England have shown they're prepared to take it on if they feel it's in the right place. So there's that leg slip in, fine leg, deep forward square leg. He has to make sure he's in front of square. He can't have 3 men behind the leg. So well, he can, but it will be a no ball. And the umpires at point to make sure that doesn't happen. And there's a deepish mid-wicket as well for another miscued pull shot. That's the skimmer, or the totally miscued top edge one. Now Siraj is going to come round the wicket. So it's in at the body in theory. Bairstow wants a change at the far end. He wants the sight screen moved over. Did you play here when there was no sight screen?
Yeah, I think I did.
In the pavilion?
Yeah, and it would, when it got cloudy and towards the end of the day, it could be quite difficult seeing out of that pavilion. Yes, and it's hugely improved. I mean, another ground, the Oval, of course, that was always quite tricky, facing from the pavilion end. Just a sea of colours with the members sitting down.
Siraj then round the wicket to bowl to Bairstow. Short ball, this has gone to slip. Kohli steps forward, takes the catch. It's worked. The short pitch ploy has worked. Bairstow is on his way. I think that came off the glove. It looped to Kohli. And India have got a wicket just before the new ball. They've broken this partnership. And Bairstow hugely disappointed to be dismissed for 57. It looked to me as if he was through the shot a bit too quickly, actually.
Well, both Bairstow and Root look upon the short ball as a scoring opportunity, and with Siraj coming round the wicket, that may have just not come off as quickly as Johnny Bairstow may have thought. But either way, it's a big blow for England just before India will take this second new ball, and it will expose, I suppose, the middle to late order for England. And it is Jos Buttler who is coming down the stairs now for England. I did wonder whether Moeen Ali, with his 5 Test hundreds and his first-class record, would come in at number 6, but Jos Buttler is emerging out onto the Lord's ground, going through his warm-up routine. But Johnny Bairstow played really well. I thought that he looked in particular good touch at Trent Bridge, and he carried that on here. Some really good driving down the ground, and an excellent partnership with Joe Root, but a big moment in the game.
Yeah, I wonder if Josh was thinking privately, cheers Johnny, thanks very much. You know, I'm not in great form, I haven't played much red ball cricket, and with 8 balls to go until the new ball, you effectively got yourself out, but there we go.
Johnny Bairstow 57 from 107 deliveries with 7 fours. As I mentioned recently, it's his highest score since late 2018 in his last 31 innings since he made that 100 in Sri Lanka. The partnership, a fine effort of 121 in 37.2 overs.
Yeah. And it's in a partnership that's got England right back in the match, but I mean, India have got a wicket just in time, and a really interesting game of cricket building up here. But we saw Buttler's struggles last week in the first innings when Bumrah was bowling to him, and it was horrible to watch. And in the end, Buttler nicked one behind, I think from his 16th or 18th ball. And second innings, of course, he left one, canned into his off stump just after the tea interval. So a big moment for him. Root at the other end leaning on his bat on 95. And here is Siraj, goes into bowl to Buttler, and Buttler gets a length delivery, or just short of a length. He plays defensively into the offside, and there's no run. And India still have that, well, half a leg theory really. There's a leg gully, forward square leg, who's 3/4 of the way back, and fine leg, but they've got 2 slips in as well, and 3 on the offside, saving a single. Kohli is making another change to the field. The leg gully is going towards deep backwards square leg. And Jadeja in that position you just don't see very often in a cricket match, halfway between the stumps and the boundary, behind square on the leg side. Siraj bowls to Buttler, and Buttler gets the bat down just in time, then gets off the mark. That was a straight ball from Siraj, and he clips it away down towards fine leg. So Buttler is underway, and it's 230 for 4 at the end of the over, with 1 over to go until the new ball.
Simon, I have to give huge credit to India and their tactics after lunch. I think a lot of fielding teams go through the motions when the ball gets old and you get close to the second new ball. Not so India. Jadeja has been very accurate and got through his overs very quickly at the nursery end, and Siraj, all energy, has run in hard and made something happen. He's induced, I suppose you'd have to say it's a mistake from Johnny Bairstow, but it's good bowling, clever field placing, and a really interesting period of the game when so often as you approach the second new ball, people just wait and put all their eggs in one basket and hoping to get the breakthrough with the new ball.
And Siraj's got that liveliness about him as well, that sort of keenness of relative youth, and he's whippy and prepared to run in and keep going. Here is Jadeja bowling to Buttler, who tries to turn that into the leg side. Big shout for LBW. Didn't feel quite right, but India might have a look at this. It was quite full. Buttler was looking to play through mid-wicket. Umpire Illingworth said not out. They're debating it. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Kohli says no. I have to say from here, and we're a long way away, that didn't look quite right from Jadeja.
Well, it was full. It was full. I'd be asking the question. We're right behind the bowler's arm here. It was so full from Jadeja, and just a little bit of turn as Buttler sort of fell over.
Well, that could be umpire's call, that one, just seeing the replay. Buttler plays defensively into the offside. It might be hitting leg stump. And that's the sort of area we're talking about. Was there an edge? No, there was no edge. But India, they burnt 2 off yesterday. Jadeja bowls to Butler, who pushes that into the offside. Kohli to his left picks up and then underarms the return. Let's have a look. Here we go. Impact in line and umpire's call. Yeah, shaving leg stump. Back with Jadeja. Into bowl to Butler. Butler drives to the left of Rahul at mid-off, gets a single. Half stopped by KL Rahul. So Root here, and well, unless he plonks one over the rope with 2 balls left before the new ball, he's not going to get his 100 before the new ball becomes available. So another little subplot to this game. Could go slog sweep, I suppose. Here's Root clipping into the onside, gets a single. Takes him to 96. And England to 232 for 4. Well, it's been a fascinating session since lunch, with India trying everything and Bairstow succumbing. Here is Butler playing inside out. They're driving into the offside towards mid-off, where he's picked up by Rahul, and there we go. That's the end of the over. 232 for 4 is the score, and the new ball is coming out, and England are 132 runs behind, and Root is 96 not out.
Yeah, such a difficult prospect facing Jadeja, particularly early in your innings when your feet aren't quite moving, and he bowls quite close to the stumps, and a huge percentage of deliveries will be hitting the stumps. So he really puts you under pressure to play and play straight. That was a very close call for Jos Buttler early on in his innings. However, he did respond with a couple of solid off drives up to mid-off, and a huge role for Jos Buttler and a good opportunity. I mean, of course, it is a second new ball and that will be difficult, but at the same time, the pitch is playing well. He's got his captain at the other end who's in sublime form. What a great opportunity to forge a meaningful partnership for England.
Indeed. Right, who is going to take the new ball for India? It's going to be Siraj to continue, is it? Has he got the new ball in hand? I was just looking at Ramps actually. I didn't notice whether the umpires held it up. Anyway, Root. The new ball has been taken. Great, thank you very much. 3 men out, 2 on the leg side, 1 on the off. Root is on 96. Siraj bowls to him. Root gets a full ball outside the off stump, which he pushes away towards cover. And there is no run. So there are a couple of potential boundary scoring options that are closed off, even with a new ball. Joe Root, that deep backward point, deep forward square leg. There's always a fine leg in. He's strong through the offside. If one was pitched up. That's Siraj. Moves in and bowls to Root wide of off stump. Root doesn't play. And it is through to Pant. So we've got that game within a game at the moment. It's exciting cricket. And here's Deep Dasgupta.
Thank you so much, Simon. And I wonder, I think taking the second new ball was the obvious choice, but I just wonder where they would have continued with the oldish ball for one more over, even though Joe Root was on strike. But try and be a little more defensive, give him a single, get Jos Buttler on, and just try one more over with that old ball, because they could have picked up the second new ball even next over.
Siraj bowls to Root, and Root drives towards mid-off, and there is no run. It was clear that they were sort of hustling through to the new ball, when Jadeja was bowling 1.5 minute overs and Siraj was banging it in with those men close in on the leg side. I suppose you had the new batter, don't you? But yeah, you could hold it off for one more. And Root, take him on, but bang it in short, see whether he'll succumb to fine leg. Siraj goes in and bowls to Root. Root gets one outside the off stump. I think he felt that might have been it there, the ball to hit for 4. He tried to drive it through the offside, miscues it back to the bowler, and then inspects his bat.
I tried to overhit a bit, lost a bit of his shape while hitting that shot. That can happen when you're batting so well and you're batting on 96. You just one boundary away and you see that half volley, and you look at that half volley, your eyes lighten up. It's like, yeah, there you go, that's my 100.
2 balls left in the over. Siraj with 3 for 58. He's bustling in now to bowl to Root, and Root plays defensively at it, and a bit of inside edge and pad into that one. He goes up the onside of the pitch, and there is no run. I mean, Siraj has done a great job for his captain here.
He really has. He really has. That was beautifully
Actually,
bowled.
there was no inside edge. It just nipped back into him and struck the thigh pad.
Yeah, the kind of action and release that Mohammad Siraj has, that off-cutter comes naturally to him, and the last delivery was that off-cutter that pitched and came back quite sharply.
2:32 for 4. Siraj back to the top of his mark, the pavilion behind him. Crowd hushed for a moment. Siraj to Root drives through the offside. That could be it. It's going up towards the grandstand. Jadeja rushes around. Oh, brilliant piece of fielding. Knocks it back. And Root is hustling back for the third. Well, that was excellent fielding from Ravi Jadeja to prevent the boundary. That was T20 fielding. Brilliant dive away to his right. So Root, for the start of the next over, is on 99. And presumably Bumrah is going to bowl. And the last time Bumrah bowled to Root, the last ball he bowled to him, he had him caught behind. So the plot thickens. Perfect time for Alison Mitchell to take over the commentary.
But what an effort. Sorry, Alison, but what an effort from Jadeja to make sure that Joe Root still is on 99 and not 100, and making that I'm making it really difficult to get to the three-figure mark for Joe Root.
It was full commitment, wasn't it, from Jadeja? Crowd are utterly alive to the status of this test match and to the England captain being on 99. The new ball, the wicket having been taken just before the new ball was available. What a moment this would be. Joe Root on 99 as the sun peeps out from behind clouds at Lord's. And Bumrah, his first over with the new ball, into Root. He's defending on off stump, into the offside, no run. 2 slips in the gully, backward point, cover, mid-off, mid-on, forward square leg. And backwards, deep backwards square leg as well. And wonderful innings from Joe Root. And what has been a wonderful year so far for him personally.
The fielders need to be really aware right now, because Joe Root would be looking to get that single somehow.
Here comes Bumrah. Root stands back poised in the air on 99. Bumrah up to the stumps. Bowls now outside the off stump. Root drops into the offside. Cries no. Jos Buttler down at the other end. He's halfway out the traps, isn't he, from the starting blocks, knowing that it's just the single, that's all we need.
Yeah, as a non-striker, you feel that sense of responsibility as well to kind of run if the guy at the other end is batting on 99, because you know he's looking for that single.
Let be this ball. Patience from Root. He awaits on 99. Bumrah past the umpire, in now bowled outside the off stump, forced away off the back foot. He calls Buttler through. Root is home, and he raises both arms aloft, clenches his fist. Joe Root punching the air in a huge roar of delight, because his stellar year continues. His 5th century of 2021. And he's standing tall in the outfield, then taking a hug from Jos Buttler. And Lord's rises to its feet in acknowledgement of the England captain.
Another magnificent innings. His 22nd Test 100. What a knock from the captain under pressure. And he performs again. He delivers again. Joe Root, take a bow.
And hundreds in consecutive test matches after the century.
It's unstoppable, isn't it?
Trent Bridge, yep. An unbelievable year. Carrying the England team. He needs now more to bat around him. But he's lifted this innings. Trailing by only 128 now. He's leaning on his bat hand at the non-striker's end, taking a few deep breaths. He's puffing out his cheeks, taking a moment to reset. Buttler on strike, 3 slips and the gully. Bumrah in, he's defending going back, calling Root through for a quick single there. Well judged. And they're safely through. 2:37 for 4 now, England. Well, we haven't experienced that at Lord's for a while, have we? A full house, because of course the test match here at New Zealand, there were still crowd restrictions in place, but it was a moment of joy, of everybody rising to their feet. And I don't think I've seen Root celebrate 100 with quite such gusto.
Yeah, I'm sure he would be feeling it a bit because, kind of chasing down a 360 odd runs and, the kind of innings that you expect from the captain, and he's delivered so far.
Bumrah in. Oh, it's edge wide of second slip by Joe Root. Well played rather on the up. There's a gap between second slip and gully, and he's got 4 runs.
Well, it seems that he was looking to play more towards deep point for a single, so that's the reason he opened the face of the bat. But went really, really fine. Outside half of the bat, evades diving Rohit Sharma. Second slip, but again a really good delivery.
Waits now. Lords is rather hushed with expectancy. Bumrah's in, and that's more like it's steered wide of gully. Deep backward point, runs across to his left-hand side to field inside the boundary rope. Root's back for the second. Ball into the gloves of Rishabh Pant. And he's on to 106. 243 for 4 at the end of that Bumrah over. But yeah, a moment more to reflect on Joe Root's 100. Andy, do you have the vital stats?
Yes, 100 from 200 balls with 9 fours. Again, the shape of his innings, he had 7 fours in his first 50, which came from 82 balls. Just 2 as he accumulated his way securely to 3 figures. His 22nd in Test cricket. He's just had his 5th of this year. He's converted 5 of his last 6 50s into hundreds, which has been something through his career. He had quite a low conversion rate, so that's something he's rectified in this magnificent year. He's been having his 7th 100 against India. Only 4 players have scored more than 700s against India. He's now tied with Alistair Cook with most by an England player against India with 7. Ponting, Richards, Steve Smith and Garfield Sobers. Tidy collection of players who have 800s against India.
That is an impressive list, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
And he's only one behind them. He's already overtaken Graham Gooch, the second highest Test run scorer.
And he is a modern day great. Let's not. I mean, he's there in some really, really big names, but he himself is a big name, and it's just amazing that his form has coincided with the team not doing that well.
A new over outside the off stump as Buttler shapes the play, lets it go through to the keeper.
Yeah, I mean that just tells you that he is taking that responsibility, and he's kind of flourishing in that responsibility that he's got of carrying the team through, not just as the leader, as the captain, but also as the main batter of the side.
The change of bowling from the far end with Ishant Sharma replacing Mohammad Shami with this new ball. But yeah, you'd almost sort of worry that the fate of the team and the batting woes have an impact on Joe Root. Because when you're captaining a team that is struggling in the batting department, but the way he's managed to sort of separate himself and his own form from that. Sharma is in, tighter angle to Buttler, fends it into the ground, into the onside where KL Rahul is fielding at short mid-wicket and there's no run. But he just exudes calmness. He has done throughout the innings today. It's been a very serene batting performance, the partnership between Root and Bairstow. It's worth 121 for that 4th wicket. Both of them very unruffled. And said he scored quickly at the start, real impetus, but in the first half hour of the day in particular.
Right, and as Andy mentioned, I mean, he paced it nicely. He has that ability to change gears.
Ishant in, 2 slips in the gully. Buttler's hitting on the up and over the outstretched hands of extra cover. Shami is now chasing back towards the boundary. There's a little loose from Buttler. And Ishant Sharma standing mid-pitch with his hands on his hips. They've run 3.
That's a poor shot. It's a very poor shot. It's a good length delivery. Bit of a nothing shot, to be honest. He wanted to drive it, then he realized it wasn't driving length, and he kind of stopped it halfway, in the end kind of pushing it over the outstretched hands of Mohammad Shami. A little lucky there, Jos Buttler.
And he leapt like a goalkeeper, both arms outstretched above his head, but just lobbed over the top. 2:46 for 4. Fielder now sent back at deep square leg, long leg back, catcher at short mid wicket, cover and extra cover as Joe Root is facing up. 2 in the slip cordon as well. Sharma is in, he gets a short ball, he sort of leans back and is able to angle the bat to guide it into the ground and down to deep third, where the ball is safely fielded by Jadeja and sends the ball back into the middle.
It's so difficult to kind of stop Joe Root from scoring, isn't it? He can accumulate, he can hit boundaries. He's like, as I mentioned this morning, it's like a 360-degree batter. He's got shots all over the park. And that's the reason that as long as he's out there, you know the game's moving forward. And as an opposition, you're kind of scared. You're scared because he's going to keep scoring runs at a fair pace. You can't really stop him.
Butler facing up, Sharma's in, a little fuller to him, and he defends. It's forward, angles that bat down, rolls the ball up to Mohammad Shami at extra cover. England are 117 behind on first innings. They began the day 245 behind. So first of all, fabulous job done by Root and Bairstow. Bairstow, the only wicket so far to have fallen today, just shortly before the second new ball was available. A barrage of short stuff from Mohammad Siraj was the tactic from India in the start of the post-lunch session. There was only 7 overs until the new ball was available. Eventually, Bairstow did top edge a pull comfortably caught by Kohli. Here is Sharma in, and Butler forced to defend again. Defends the ball into the ground in the offside. 247 for 4 then, 117 behind at the end of the over. There's so much live cricket across the BBC today as well to tell you about, because as well as our test match commentary here, you can hear coverage of the Royal London Cup quarter-final on the BBC Sport website and app. Essex setting 317 for 7 against Yorkshire. And from 3:15 p.m. this afternoon, there's live cricket on the television on BBC Two. You can watch the Oval Invincibles take on London Spirit. It's the return London derby, the double-header in the 100. So the women on at 3:15, followed by the men. And then don't forget also the highlights of today's play as well. If you want to watch all that back and get the whole story of the day in the hour, that'll be available on the red button from 7 o'clock. Later on the iPlayer, as Bumrah is in, forward route. It's deflected, very fine down to fine leg. He's pushing hard for the second and will make it as well. Again, good impetus to the running, very certain that there's going to be 2 there. 249 for 4.
Yeah, this is an important phase for India. A bit of a bonus that they got the wicket of Johnny Bairstow in the 78th over. Yeah, it was against a run-off play, but with the second new ball, it's very, very important, imperative for India to pick a couple of wickets here.
Root's got 3 slips standing behind him as Bumrah is over the wicket to him. Now it's outside the off stump. Root's comfortably able to let it go through to Rishabh Pant. More sunshine, it's ebbing and flowing, isn't it, the sunshine over the ground, as it has done, but today just feels like always did feel like the best of the days so far for batting. Hasn't been the murk, we haven't seen the floodlights needed at all. Andy?
Just a couple more things on Root's century. His 100 in the first test was his first home century since 2018.
Bumrah is into him now. He's on 109 now. Root onto the ball at his chest, now into his action outside the off stump. Like Root flirted and thought about playing, allowing it to go through.
And this is his first century in England in the first innings of a test match since the first test against West Indies back in 2017. And he's played 24 tests at home since then. Prior to that, he regularly scored first innings hundreds at home, 9 in his first 33 home test matches up to that point.
And just that difference, isn't it, between getting 100 in the first innings to potentially set up the game for your team. Bumrah in, angling in a touch to Root, who's defending from the crease, and there's no run into the offside.
A few more stats. 500s in the year. First England player to do that since Ian Bell in 2011 when he made 500s. Alistair Cook in 2010. Kevin Peterson in 2008. Dennis Amiss in 1974 also had 500s. The most hundreds in the year, Michael Vaughan 2002 and Dennis Compton 1947 with 6. So that record is in Root's sights.
Oh, it absolutely is. Plenty more test matches this summer to come. Another 3 after this. Bumrah in now to Root and forward, finding short cover and no run. What is the world record? Would it be Mohammed Yusuf had 9 in a year once, and whether anybody surpassed that? I'm pretty sure 9 was the number. That's quite going some.
He's the only person to have made more than 7 in a year. Mohammed Yusuf in 11 tests, 900s, 3 other 50s in the year 2006 for Pakistan.
What a player he was. Here's Bumrah at the end of his mark, again into Root. Breeze just picking up the flags again above the pavilion, beside the off stump. Putting it away down to deep backward point, jogging through for a gentle single. 110 he's on now, 251 for 4 for England.
And also the first time Root's made hundreds in successive test innings. I said before this year he'd never made hundreds in successive test matches. He had 300s in consecutive matches earlier in the year, and in back-to-back innings he's the first England player to have hundreds in 2 consecutive innings since Ian Bell in 2013 in that Ashes series we were talking about earlier on.
Let's give out records for back-to-back hundreds then, from 200s to 300s in a row. As Bumrah comes in now, fires that angled in to Buttler. Comes forward, manages to bring the bat down quickly, defend it back up the pitch. So it's the end of the over. Drinks being brought out onto the field, well, at least a scurry of substitute fielders in their bright vests. 251 for 4 and 113 behind. Just to let people know that there are some tickets available for play here at Lord's tomorrow and day 5. They are £20 for adults and £10 for children. So day 5 tickets are £20 for adults and £10 for children. So I'll probably direct you to the website, to the Lord's website, to check out how to get tickets for play tomorrow. But there are some tickets available, so what a chance to come and just see. By the end of the day today, we're going to have a better idea of quite how this match is going to play out. But with England still 113 behind, there's still that. If you're thinking about it from the Indian perspective, you're still thinking somehow get rid of Root, pick up another couple. You've still got Buttler, who's not yet set and hasn't been in form. We've got Moeen, who's back in the England side, having played the 100-ball cricket. How will he play? But
it's nicely poised, I must say. With 6 wickets in hand and trailing by 113, he'll be thereabouts if worst come worst.
Slip, gully leg slip, full to Buttler. He's clipping it away towards mid-on. Runs through for a quick single. His throw comes in. Well run.
Yeah, I think England should be thereabouts, as I mentioned, with 6 wickets in hand. I don't think any of the teams will take a substantial lead because this is comparatively a high-scoring game so far. So it's going to be really, really interesting last 2 days, isn't it? Day 4, day 5, and as you mentioned, the tickets available. Interesting next couple of days.
I think the weather forecast is fine as well. We had a small interruption, didn't we, at the start of play on day 1. Catcher at short mid-wicket here. Buttler, getting very tight to that off stump. He shouldered arms quite late. Skipped up on his toes, stood tall. Allowed the ball to pass through to Rishabh Pant. Still got a field set for a short ball, haven't they?
Yeah, but I think he's pushing Josh Buttler on the back foot. He's actually setting him up for the fuller delivery and the fuller in-swinging delivery. Trying to hit him on his pads or getting leg before or bowled. But he's setting him up as of now with those short deliveries.
It's the playing with the mind, the teasing. What ball is going to come? What will Buttler get? Sharma runs in. He's forward in that time, but with a high front elbow to defend back up the pitch. And England remain 112 behind.
Yeah, another delivery where Josh Buttler had to go onto his back foot. But then 3 more left in this over. So maybe another one, same length off the back foot, and then maybe
fire one in.
Maybe the 5th delivery.
guesswork, and it's also reactionary, isn't it? To how much you can afford to predict what the bowler's going to bowl when it's coming to you at pace, and just judging your reflexes, trusting them. Sharma is in, it's outside the off stump, it's too wide to tempt Buttler into a shot, and he's happy to let it go.
Yeah, again, the length was on the shorter side. And as a batter, you've got to actually read the situation, as you mentioned. Yes, he's trying to kind of bowl that back of length right now, but as a batter, you should be aware that the end game is not that. The end game is the one that is pitch fuller, and that in-swinging one. And you've got to keep telling yourself, to watch out for that. Watch out for that.
Be alive to that situation. Warmish day at Lord's. Crowd in sort of light blue shirts, pale pink shirts, watching tall figure of Sharma run in. There is the full one. It's beaten the bat. There's an appeal. Umpire Michael Goff, with a shake of the head, says there was no edge. That was well bowled. That's what he's been looking for.
Yeah, that was off the pad. It seems the impact obviously was outside off stump, but that's exactly what Ishant Sharma was setting Jos Buttler up for. The fuller one, the fuller in-swinging one, off the pad to Rishabh Pant. Obviously no bat involved there, as we can see it in the replay.
A squeeze past the inside edge.
Yeah.
For a moment there'd been a deflection off the bat into the gloves of Pant.
And as far as leg before is concerned, impact was outside off stump, so yeah.
Here goes Sharma again then. He's got one more ball left in this over. Into Buttler. He defends it coming forward. Deflects it out towards point. So he's got through the over, but he's 6 off at 19, Jos Buttler. And still feeling his way into the innings, which you'd expect from how he looked at Trent Bridge. So 112 behind, 252 for 4.
Yeah, he hasn't got too many runs behind him, has he? So it's quite evident and visible the way he's batted for the 19 deliveries that he's batted so far. He's looked a little tentative with his footwork, a little tentative with his stroke play as well. But you know what? It's just a matter of spending some time out there in the middle. You never know how that switch goes on.
Root facing up to Bumrah on off stump, thought about a single and turned it down. Mid-off is there to field. What role does Joe Root have as the senior batsman when you've just had a large partnership broken? New batter is coming out, that hasn't had a great deal of form behind him. How much do you expect him to be speaking to him, or again do you just think, well, it's Buttler, he's got so much experience behind him, he will work it out himself? As Bumrah is in, I'll answer that in a moment. He starts his run-up. Slow start to the run-up, and then gathering pace, explodes at the crease. Turned off the pads by Joe Root, behind square, with the long-limbed Ishant Sharma. He went feet first down there on the boundary and has slid the ball into the rope. Another conventional way of fielding the ball on the slide.
Yeah, Bumrah wouldn't be happy with that effort, neither would Virat be. It was a difficult one though for Ishant, but yeah, he should have stopped that. It's very, very stoppable, that one. Well, shots like these could help Jos Buttler if Joe Root keeps on batting the way he does.
Crowd acknowledging Joe Root passing 9,000 career runs. The mark of the status of this remarkable England batsman and captain. Another one clipped off the legs behind square. Here's Ishant. Crowd might watch him field it. He does. Fixes up cleanly in two hands. Sends the ball back in, and Joe Root grounds his bat at the far end.
Yeah, going back to the question that you asked, obviously, as I mentioned, the way that Joe Root is batting, that itself can be a calming down, can have that calming down effect on someone like Jos Buttler. Also, keep chatting with him every now and then, just tell him, you're fine, you're doing fine. And as I mentioned, could be just one delivery, one good shot away from being confident, Jos Buttler.
Always beaten that time, Joe Root. Prodding forward defensively, some excitement from Jasprit Bumrah. 258 for 4. But that landmark for Joe Root is quite something as well at the age of 30 to get that. Alistair Cook reaching that landmark at a very similar age.
Yeah, I guess if you've played as long as Joe Root has and been, the kind of player that he has been over so many years, at this point in time, every time you go out to bat, there'll be some record or some milestone or the other.
Bumrah in now. Let's come back in on him. Taito's defending to the onside. Back at the pitch. No run. He just had words to himself after he was beaten the ball before, and now wandering away towards square leg.
Yeah.
I mean, taking a moment really just to reset after the 100. So much emotion comes out, doesn't it, when you reach that landmark?
Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes.
The heart rate just picks up, the moment of elation, and then settling down. There's still so many more runs needed here for England. 106 behind on first innings. Bumrah in, defence again. And the defence is tight from Root on the whole. It's that time where he's beaten. Andy.
Yeah, the second England player to 9,000 test runs after Alistair Cook, who's the youngest to do so. Part of that, the volume of test cricket England plays in recent years took Root 196 innings to reach 9,000, took Cook 204 innings in all. He's the 16th player to reach 9,000 test runs. Leading the way, Sachin Tendulkar, 15,921. Joe Root's only 30 years old. Think you can catch him up, Pete? How would that go down in India?
That should go down all right and shouldn't be much of a problem. But 15,000 runs, I think one of those, that would be one record that would be very, very difficult. 200 test matches and 15,000 test runs. To get to 15,000 test runs, you need to play somewhere near that 200 test match mark. So yeah, looking at the schedule and number of test matches that you play nowadays, could be a difficult one.
Longevity of career. How old can you play till? Shami in from the pavilion end. He's bowled full to Buttler and he's getting runs through quite straight mid-on. In fact, all the way for 4. Sharma was chasing back, but it's timed enough to run away down to the pavilion end.
Yeah, wasn't really off the middle of the bat, more so like the inside half, it seems. But then, runs would help. Talking about, you never know what triggers that confidence in someone. Could be, like I mentioned, a shot like this, a boundary like this, or just a good forward defensive shot.
Just to feel comfortable again.
Yeah, suddenly you realize your body is moving well, your feet is moving, your head's in the right position.
Shami, and again now to Buttler outside the off stump. He reaches for it, only as far as Jadeja at backward point. Into the ground and fielded. Certainly saving runs because there's nobody back on that cover boundary, but very quick to look to latch on to the width offered by Shami. The offside is now going to be plugged with a fielder at a shortish cover. And deep mid-wicket coming up as well. So 2 slips, gully, point, short cover, and off mid-on. And Shami into Buttler, and that side off stump again, hoping to tempt him into a shot. And he lets it go, showing some good discipline.
Yeah. And someone like Josh Buttler, who's a natural stroke player, I'm sure he would be someone like Bairstow who loves the ball hitting his bat and he, getting the feel of it. There's some batters who just love spending time out there in the middle. It could be just leaving deliveries, just spending time, but it seems like someone like Buttler, he likes scoring runs.
It's the nature. It's when he's at his destructive best. He's up on his toes to shoulder arms, let that one go through to the keeper. But then to build a substantial test match innings and in different conditions and against different bowlers and different phases of play as well, having that judgment about what state the game is at when you come in.
True, and I reckon that's where I think he's still trying to look for the right tempo in test match cricket or the right template to score runs in test match cricket, because he's so good in white ball cricket. He's one of the better batters out there in world right now in white ball cricket.
Faces up now, 10 from 23. Shami in, and he's beaten him through the inside edge again, through to Rishabh Pant. It's the oohs and the ahs. He was looking to defend. So there's been a couple of good deliveries.
Yeah, and that's that Mohammad Shami for you. Yeah, cut him into half.
Yeah. It's past the inside edge.
Just a little movement of the seam there, and that was enough. And that's what you need as a bowler, just that little bit of movement after pitching.
Will this one do? Last ball of the over. Shami in, flashing away, finding the gap, and this will be 4 through extra cover. KL Rahul up at short cover. It was well wide of him. Thump of the gloves between Buttler and Root, and something of a release shot almost that felt like for Buttler.
Yeah, that's true. As I mentioned, I think he's one of those batters who likes scoring runs, and that's how he gets confidence of scoring runs, hitting boundaries, and I think that one would definitely help him because that was a good shot. Got a boundary, not just got a boundary, but that was actually a good shot of the middle of the bat, got his position right, the head position and the bat flow. So yeah, so far so good.
And England less than 100 behind now, 98 they trail by, 266 for 4. So just recap, the drinks being brought onto the field is how this third day has unfolded. England resuming 245 behind. Root and Bairstow not out overnight. England always knowing that they were the pair to be looking towards, and Root's absolutely answered that, and Johnny Bairstow accompanying him for 121 for the 4th wicket until he was out top edging a Paul just before the second new ball was available for 57. England went through the whole session between the start of the day and lunch without losing a wicket. Then the new ball, the complexion of the game just changes, but Joe Root then reaches his 100. Jos Buttler is still finding his way here, but they have got the deficit down to less than 100 and still 6 wickets in hand. And Jonathan Agnew is back in here for commentary.
Thanks, Ali. Yes, a well-deserved drink. Some fascinating stats that we're just seeing next door. Guess how many runs Joe Root, deep, has scored straight?
Not too many.
Andy Zaltzman?
He scored more runs behind square than in front of square. Maybe roughly.
How many straight when you look at the wagon wheel? By straight I mean from extra cover round to wide mid-on.
Zilch.
It's a very good answer. It's the correct answer. It is 0. Not a single run has come straight. So I was thinking, well, that means maybe that the Indians are well too short at him. Call up the pitch and do it on the telly. It's very clever. I mean, we have Andy Zaltzman, obviously, but you see it on the telly, the graphic, all on good length. So they haven't bowled too short to him at all.
No.
He's just on that back foot, and he's resisting, obviously, the drive at it, but predominantly it's because he's such a strong back foot player. Even good length balls, he's playing off the back foot.
That's true. And I've mentioned this before as well. Because he's so wristy, he's got supple wrist, he actually, even when he tries to hit a cover drive, it goes left of covers because of those supple wrists. And that's the reason you see a lot of his runs in that point region, point and behind point. That's where he gets a lot of runs, and that's where Virat have every now and then put a fielder there. He's got a deep point more often than not for him. He's got a short point as well, but still he manages to at least find a single, grafting the ball towards third man and stuff like that. He's been a bit lucky as well at times. I mean, trying to glide that ball towards third man, got a few thickish outside edges, but yeah, taking nothing away from him. He's been absolutely fabulous the way he's manipulated the field and grafted this innings.
Well, you'll see that pitch map if you watch the highlights tonight, 7 o'clock on BBC Two. You'll also see Mr. and Mrs. Root swilling a drink. Well, they think that he got his 100 too. In fact, he was only to 99. So actually, it's a red button on 7 p.m. tonight on the iPlayer at 9. It's actually BBC Two live at midnight. I think I might be tucked up by then, but it's on the red button anyway from 7 o'clock. So yes, we saw those two. I think they got his 100. They're quaffing back a drink in celebration, and Jadeja stopped it brilliantly down there on the boundary, so I think they had to recharge their glasses probably. And a great moment. Man, seeing your son score 100 at Lord's, even as it's 22nd, I mean, it's still so special, isn't it, to see it here?
We were on the telly just discussing that, and I think that is just top quality batsmanship, you know. I reckon, how'd you get out at Lords with the slope? How you get out at Lords with the slope is going after those swinging deliveries and trying to go for those big booming drives, even though when it's full.
Yep.
And he's just put it away.
Yep.
He's put that shot away.
But the bowling coach would look at that wagon wheel and say, oh, well, where are we bowling then?
Yeah,
We must have
I
bowled
know.
too short. Up it comes, and it's good length.
Yeah.
All of it was good length. There was one or two short balls, but by far the majority of the balls that they bowled to Root in this innings were a good length and full of a length, and somehow he's manoeuvred it around, square of the wicket, a lot coming through third man, plays very late. He must be absolutely maddening to bowl at.
Yeah, but I was just talking to Ramps, he said, I've thrown a lot of balls to Joe.
Yes,
Obviously, he was England batting coach and what have you. And he just said he has the ability just to knock one in leg side, knock one in just past that cover point fielder. You know, just tick, 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 tick. Very difficult to bowl maidens too.
In goes Bumrah. They've had a drink, and that's
just like
thumped
that.
into Root's pad. And rolls away out towards mid-wicket.
There's quite good things about all this technology.
Yeah.
We didn't have it and everything, you see, because we would have been, as bowlers, we would have been getting told off, wouldn't we? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Oh, come on, you're not pitching out. Hold on, sorry, Skip.
Have a look at that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's the first thing I thought of when I saw the wagger wheel where he scored. Well, they must have bowled too short to him.
Yeah.
Have a look.
There you
Not
go.
the case.
The only trouble is, though, on the other flip side of that, you know, if you have bowled too short, it's or too full, they can then prove you wrong.
Well, that's true. But you could change the field. I mean, why have a mid-off and a mid-on?
Totally agree.
Push them squarer.
Haven't fielded a
make
ball.
him play up there.
Well, they might have fielded a couple, but no, I absolutely correct.
Make him play straighter.
Yeah.
Bumrah's on his way, bowls, and Root does drive that, and Bumrah's able to field in his follow-through, and there's no run. Butler, was it? Sorry.
The highlight, you're saying how difficult it is to bowl maidens to Root after a slow start when England lost those 2 wickets, 10 from his first 33 balls. Since the 26th over of the innings, they haven't managed to bowl more than 7 consecutive dot balls to him. And we saw very much the same in Trent Bridge as well.
Yeah.
3 slips waiting. Butler, bat raised, waits for Bumrah. In he goes, wearing 93 is there, and Butler checks that drive, doesn't follow through with it, and just clips it to mid-off. Immediately starts polishing furiously the ball on his trousers, on his sleeveless sweater. Sun shining, lots of blue sky. It's a lovely afternoon, but still there's empty seats there in the tavern stand, which have been baffling me all day.
Well, it's Mrs. Root's Shepherd's Pie that won, wasn't it?
Yes, I'm not mentioning that. I was robbed. 267 for 4. Goes Bumrah, swinging in, Butler forward. Finds backward point, but you would. I mean, if you look at that, and say right, okay, that's where his scoring is.
It's
right.
interesting, isn't
So
it?
therefore we take mid on and mid off,
Yeah,
and we
exactly.
move them much squarer.
Yeah.
Deny him those runs,
Yes.
and make him play where he doesn't want to play.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit like sort of. You must have great fun, all these analysts, actually, because it must be like sort of like a war game. You know, let's move all them here and move them here, bring up the cavalry and put them there.
Game of chess, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is,
moving
really.
your pieces about.
Yeah.
Bumrah on his way, bowls. Butler's on the back foot this time, finding mid on.
Because, I mean, the best players I bowled at in my career were the people, wasn't necessarily, the most elegant or technically correct, but they hit it where the fielders weren't.
Indeed. But it does make them have to change their game a bit, doesn't it?
Well,
And
exactly.
I'd definitely do that if I were the Indians with Root. 267 for 4. Butler's on 14. Root 117. And this one's outside the off stump, quite full. Well, Butler lets it go by.
I know, it was very interesting next door. Sorry to keep banging on about it, but it was very interesting, wasn't it? And sometimes I do think to myself, who decided where all the fielders go sort of in the first place? Why don't you just put them all sort of like, completely different places just to see what would happen?
Well, sometimes the fielders aren't in the right places, are they? I mean, I remember playing a game.
Yeah.
I think for some reason, I think it was at Worksop, but anyway, where someone got 100 for Nottinghamshire, and it was a really strange, scratchy, odd 100. And in the end, I think the captain might have been Peter Willies, or Clapstone's right, silly positions. And so he didn't actually field at mid-off. He went to sort of a strange mid-off, and the cover was a bit where he shouldn't be. And so he sort of gave up, really, and because the ball wasn't going to where it should have been at all. I mean, the batsman was probably out of nick, we were fighting to get this 100, you know.
Yeah.
Silly positions.
Yeah.
And so that was what happened.
Yeah. Silly walks and silly positions.
Yeah. Another change. This is the fourth change of bowling.
I know.
With the new ball at that far end.
And I don't think that's good. You can't get in any sort of rhythm.
No. And this is only the 9th over with it.
Yeah.
Here's Sharma bowling outside the off stump. Root does play at that. But look at the field for Root here.
Yeah.
So as we were talking, you've got 2 men on the drive.
I know.
And that was the absolute perimeter as to that graphic that we saw. So short extra cover and short mid-wicket, they are absolutely on the edge. And then behind them, they've got a mid-off and a mid-on.
And they won't field a ball.
Well, they might field the odd defensive shot.
Yeah.
But not it would suggest runs. I mean, when he's driving, it's going to short covers left hand.
Yeah.
And when he's clipping through mid-wicket, it's going to short mid-wicket's right hand.
Yeah. Don't tell him your name, Pike. Oh.
In comes Sharma, and he bowls, and that's pushed away to covers left hand, and he
They
feels.
might be, they could be earwigginess, you know.
They won't listen to what we're saying. No one ever does.
No, perhaps not.
Don't blame them either.
Well, I think you're right on that account.
Well, it would make sense if you've got all the information together,
yeah.
all the data.
They must have it up there as well, you know.
Yeah. That you'd say that is the wrong field to have for Root, and he's got 117. That's not saying that he can't back, but it'd make him change his game.
Yes,
it'd make him have to play to mid-off and mid-on.
Should be a coach, I guess.
In goes Sharma. From the pavilion end, he's there and he bowls, and Root flicks that away through square leg, picks up 1. Field right there on the boundary, or throw it back again. So where would you deploy mid-on and mid-off? You'd have them.
Well, I'd have them. No, yes, I'd have them for that sort of that shot that he looks to push forward, and then just. I'd definitely have one sort of on a point line, but almost perhaps catching or just behind on a gully.
I think that's the key word. I'd definitely have one catching at gully all the time.
Yes,
because it would make him think about that shot and whether it's dangerous. There's a big gap there.
Yeah.
But I would definitely have a gully.
Yeah.
Even if he kept peppering it down to third man, because it'll be in his mind if he does get slightly wrong, he'll be caught.
I agree. Or even a couple, have a gully and then perhaps just one on that line catching as well.
Yeah.
Just to stop him, just that easy, lovely sort of fluid one.
Plays it so well.
Does.
268 for 4.
Good player, isn't he?
Yeah. A bit. In comes Sharma, sun shining, and Butler clips him away out to mid-wicket. It trickles along the ground there. And there's no run. Sun fully out, and they're enjoying that, and bathing in the sunshine in the mound stand. How about that?
He's had a couple of good Saturdays, hasn't he?
Yes.
It's a nice couple of Saturdays, isn't it?
The umpire there is having a word with Ishant about running down the pitch, which I think he did yesterday. So he didn't get an official warning.
It's what we used to say. Every day's a Saturday.
Yeah.
And then Australia were 650 for 3. Come on, lads, every day's a Saturday.
Right. 2 men catching in the leg side for Butler. Sharma, pavilion behind him, comes in, bowls wide of the off stump. Butler plays no stroke. So it goes to the wicketkeeper punt.
It's glorious, isn't it? Yeah, the sun's really
It's beautiful.
out,
Really is. Lots of blue sky. I don't know how our friends are getting that drive to Cornwall, who are going at 2 miles an hour.
How do you reckon?
Well, they've probably done about 10 miles since we last
since
we read out their email. It's like a horrendous journey.
Still ploughing on.
Yeah. Lovely to chat to Greg James at lunchtime. Always,
it was good.
Good, easy company. Isn't he? He loves his cricket.
Yeah, he does.
268 for 4. Butler on 14. Waits. Sharma runs in. Long straight run. And they squeeze that away square. Chase for the fielder. Such a short, quick boundary there. It's just, again, hardly timed. Sharma's got his hands on his hips. How did that go for 4?
That's power, isn't it?
Yeah, but it didn't look as if it was actually hitting it there. Squeezed away square up the hill and still goes for 4.
Well, what it does do, Josh Butler, is that
Actually took his bottom hand off the bat handle there
Yeah,
as
but
well.
he sort of pokes it, doesn't he? He
Yep.
pokes it with power. You know, everything's a bit jabby. It's not like a silky Joe Root kind of cover drive. It's a... So if you do get a big edge on it or half a bat on it, it flies off. He's a strong fella and all.
Christine Miles, hello. She sent us an email, said, in that view for the boundary, Greg James mentioned the old hats that people used to wear to enable TMS listening. Do you ever see one of those? Like a baseball cap?
Yeah.
When you were talking early 90s, I think.
Yes, I do vaguely.
A radio cunningly concealed in
That's
it.
right.
With an aerial, telescopic aerial
Yeah.
sticking out of it.
That's
I mean,
right.
they were very, very high tech in those days.
Yes.
It goes Bumrah, bowls, and Root plays in down to mid-on. Well, Christine says, my husband, Richard, is wearing his now.
Oh.
He's in the garden.
Is he?
Yeah, he always listens to TMS and gardens at the same time. A male multitasker. And that Greg James interview is now available as a podcast, by the way. So
You could upgrade those hats as well, couldn't you? They used to then have a couple of sort of... couple of beer cups stuck on the side.
They were very strange. You could sort of tune them too. You had little dials on there. I mean, they were, when you had the whole thing up.
Yeah.
Did look very odd. Bumrah, who bowled a no ball to the previous ball, by the way. Bowls and Root plays that down to mid off. Yeah, like you sort of tune into all sorts of things
Well,
with
you
it.
could have anything going on up there.
Yes,
couldn't you?
absolutely.
You know?
But particularly with the telescopic aerial sticking up.
Hands free.
Look at Michael was asking how to stop the excessive sort of mini drinks breaks within play.
Oh, yes.
Maybe Fielders just had hats with those kind of drinks dispensers
Yes.
on top.
Yeah.
Little straws, curly straws down the side.
Do you remember?
It'd be an interesting sight. There's curly straws, yeah. Bumrah bowls, and now Root takes his hand off the handle too, turns the ball to square leg.
I think we should
Picks
bring
up a
them
single.
back. What a fantastic idea.
Well, the radios.
Now, yeah, the old baseball cap. Then just you can take TMS wherever you want to go.
Well, I remember Mike Atherton was captain because I remember posing in a photograph with him. We both had them on, sort of pretending to tune in, you know. Dial those knobs.
Yeah.
There's a volume on one side, and there's a frequency knob on the other. You just
Do
twiddle them around.
exams with them on and everything.
Yeah, you sit down, you pull the aerial up. Off you
Go to
go.
class.
Yeah.
Should do that.
I can just imagine Richard in the garden there, pottering about with his aerial up. In goes Bumrah, bowls, a bit of in-swing there, and Butler plays it out to cover.
Didn't South Africa try that in the '99 World Cup?
Yes.
Didn't Hansi Cronje have a little earpiece?
Certainly
Yes. Bob Wilber.
Bob Wilmer was talking to him. It was a game at Hove. That's right. It caused all sorts of trouble. I mean, they banned it. They were taken away. 274 for 4. And Butler waits for Bumrah. You've got a day-to-day toughest, haven't
I
you?
know.
Wow.
Yep.
In goes Bumrah, bowls, clipped away down to mid-on, and there's no run. And we talk about these players, lack of
Yeah.
preparation,
I know.
changing formats.
I know.
And they, well, at least they've got 3 or 4 days to do it. You're doing, well,
I've just got myself in a nice red ball rhythm.
Yep.
Leaving outside the off stump.
Yep.
You know, not playing that expansive cover drive. And
Yep.
I've got to nip across to the oval and start smashing it out the park.
so you're doing 100 as well this afternoon.
Yes, looking forward to it. Big London derby.
So you're abandoning us.
Well, I'm afraid so. Yeah, complete gear change.
Yeah. Well, good luck.
Yeah.
Bumrah. And that's edged. Has gone for 4.
That's exactly what we were talking about that Joe Root hasn't done. Josh Butler looking to smash that down the ground, full ball, just moves away from him.
No ball as well.
And a no ball as well. And that's where the edge comes.
Yep, absolutely. Flew through the slips. It wouldn't have carried. But a streaky boundary. England won't care because they're moving in now on India's first innings score, which they have to do because it's quite a dry pitch. They've got to get up there and beyond if they can. Bumrah once more, bowls, Butler defends, but he gets a single. Playing into the offside off the front foot.
Yeah,
So, 84 behind now. Well, you're going to be...
got to dash across London.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I might be going on the back of one of those bikes.
Are you? I'd like to see that.
Might be exciting.
50 partnership up between these two. That's the round of applause there.
It's come from nowhere.
That's very quick. 280 for 4. Root on
Balls.
119.
How many balls has that been, Andy, that 50 partnership?
Took exactly 11 overs that she came up with the 4 that Butler hit that was called no ball.
It's a funny one. Bumrah there, at the start of his run, right like he was playing bowls, bowled the cricket ball all the way down the pitch. So from where he is now, at the start of his run, it rolled past Root, who looked at it. What's going on here? And Punt picked it up. He sort of rolled it like a long range outdoor bowl.
Okay.
How incredible. Underarm. Now he bowls outside the off stump, and Root twitched and played at it. Ball flies away to the wicketkeeper. Wow, that was a very strange moment. As if Bumrah's. Oh, there's another no ball.
What?
Well, the previous one certainly was. It was an underarm and rolled from long range.
Perhaps it's just a little...
Big no ball too. Look at that one. A couple of inches.
Oh, yeah, it's a whopper. Divert, just to unsettle you, perhaps, I don't know. Strange.
Yeah. Last ball of the over. Bumrah's on his way. Bowls outside the off stump. It's chopped away by Root. Down to that backward point position again to end the over. 282 for 4. 90 overs have been bowled in this innings. Root 120, Butler 23. I look forward to seeing you making your high-speed exit to the Oval. Tuffers.
Yeah, looking forward to it tonight. Should be good. Andy.
Since the new ball's taken 50 runs, no wickets in 10 overs, slightly ominously for India, Joe Root, when he makes hundreds at Lords, tends to go big. This is his 4th 100 at Lords. Had a bit of a lean time. His last 10 tests on this ground had averaged only 27. But his 3 previous hundreds, 180 that we talked about earlier on in the second innings against Australia in 2013, 200 not out against Sri Lanka in 2014 with his breakthrough year, and then 190 against South Africa in 2017.
120 at the moment. And Sharma is going to continue from the pavilion end in the sunshine. Comes in, bowls to Root. Just plays that away. It was Butler for a minute. He plays it away down to the same point. I mean, exactly the same place. All those runs he scored there.
We've cracked it, John, haven't we? We're quite pleased with ourselves, aren't we?
Well, we are quite pleased. But the thing is, he's obviously a fine player. He would just score runs somewhere else. But at the moment, those two fielders are completely redundant.
Yes. And only trail now by 81. We could be in for a cracker here,
Yep.
Well, they'll definitely pass India, perhaps. Well, don't speak too soon, but if England are batting tonight, they'll be past India.
You're doing your quiz at tea time, Andy.
Oh, lovely.
Solo performance because there's no Dan Norcross. Sharma bowls and Butler tries to drive. It's inside edge into the pad. It's picked up at mid-wicket, wandering in there. Well, that's very exciting. Do we have you got your contestants?
Yes, we have Mel from Farnham Royal Cricket Club and Steve from Odium, apologise if I've pronounced that correctly, and Greywell Cricket Club.
Is it Odium or Odium? It's the Air Force base, isn't it? Is that right?
Some chap came up to me and asked me a good question. I can't quite remember it, but it was something like...
that's not very good radio
what
stuff,
players,
isn't it?
No, just give me a minute. What 2 players...
In comes Sharma, and Butler defends and plays towards mid-off.
have played 100 one-day internationals and not a test match.
100 one-day international and not a test match. And there's 2 players in the world.
I think so, yeah.
International players.
So it's quite late when you said golf.
It wasn't when you were batting last night, was it?
No, go on. Yeah, I think that's correct, and I've forgotten one of them, but I know the other one. But Andy will be able to... I bet he gets it.
Never played a test match.
Yeah.
Played 100 one-day internationals.
Yeah.
Right.
Quite good, isn't it?
Well, if it's right. I've got a huge amount of confidence
No, go
in
on.
the question.
I'm pretty certain.
Right.
If we're in quiz mode.
Sharma bowls and Butler punches off the front foot to cover.
I can't actually remember the second one, but I mean, it will come to me.
It's probably an Indian.
Scottish player?
No, don't think so. No. You'll definitely know one of them.
Got to go for India. West Indies. A West Indian. He's played 100 one-day internationals and not
I
played
hope I've got this right. Do you want me to give you one?
Yeah.
Kieran Pollard.
That's correct. Sharma bowling outside the off stump. You're so pleased with yourself. Okay.
There's one other who's it's escaping me, but I think I remember. Was it? I think it's a South African. But I can't remember.
Can't remember his name.
What was it?
Well, that was that's great. Thank you, Tuffers.
Go on.
I can guarantee that for the quiz at tea time, I do know all the answers to the questions.
No, go
Stay
on.
tuned.
What's the other one? Oh, I can't remember.
Tuffers,
Go on,
for goodness
Andy.
sake. You shouldn't have started this off.
No, what was it? Who was it?
Andy's looking totally bemused by the whole thing. 283 for 4. Then comes Sharma. Oh, well, it's bowled in. It's gone straight through bat and pad, and Butler's out. He hit the off stump. Muted celebrations, I think, there from India, to be honest. Not exactly rushing around high-fiving everybody. And Butler's out. It's as if they were almost waiting for a possible no-ball call there.
Oh.
But I don't think it's going to happen. Just nipped in between bat and pad and hit the top of the off stump. So a nice piece of bowling. And Butler is on his way. And England are now 283 for 5. Butler out for 23. Tuffers, yes, more insight and thoughts from you, and then Alison Mitchell's coming back.
Perfect delivery, wasn't it, from Sharma? It's what you're trying to do from the pavilion end, just outside that off stump. Josh Butler sometimes he just doesn't get his feet moving. He's a bit of a sort of stand and deliver kind of player. Just poke that bat out, nip back, top of off stump. That's where you're aiming. Hit the top of off stump, and he did. So India get the breakthrough.
Hello, Tuffers.
More afternoon.
Afternoon even. But this cheer you're hearing is the welcome that Moeen Ali is getting
Yes.
out to the middle, and I think the crowd will be willing him to make runs on his return to the Test side, and in the same way that there was an awful lot of warmth and goodwill towards Hasib Hamid coming out on his return to the Test fold to make runs. Of course, all the noise was sucked out of the first ball dismissal and that's a
dear.
silence.
Oh,
But
dear.
a very similar sort of sentiment just now as Moeen Ali has walked out to the middle, and you just feel there's a lot of people willing him on here. Of course, his last Test appearance and his only first class. Well, he's only had one Test match when he played in February.
Didn't think I'd see him again in whites.
Yeah, but he hasn't played a first class game in England in 2 years.
No.
So this is the challenge now to walk out in Test whites, a full house at Lords.
Absolutely.
Albeit with your England captain at the other end, unbeaten on 121, and it is Root who is on strike with 2 slips in place. And Shami's in full, driven nicely by Root through extra cover. The ball is running away down the slope. Will it beat the fielder? Chase is on. Ball gets there first.
Glorious. And we were talking about Joe Root not having scored too many straight down the ground. Well, I think that's sort of straightish, isn't it? That's extra cover. But absolute sumptuous, wasn't it? Look at that crunch.
Just as the sun came out over Lords,
Beautiful.
Root is stepping into a cover drive. Beautiful position. Wonderfully timed stroke.
Lovely.
Sublime.
Yeah, really good. Really, really good. You know, look at good to see Mo back, actually. Wonderful player, isn't he, when he gets going?
He absolutely is. Root on 125 knocks this into the onside. It'll be the single.
Hurry
Throws
up.
an on-striker's end. Root had to run his batting pretty sharpish then. The throw missed the stumps. Maybe didn't set off quite as quickly as he had done for some previous singles earlier on in his innings.
He might be getting a bit weary, perhaps. I mean, been out there a while now, 228 balls, and concentrating all the time.
A little thumbs up to Moeen. When he eventually turned round, he really had to put the head down those last few
Tight.
strides.
Been close.
Let's get a wriggle on. So he's wandered down the pitch, and a little word with Moeen as he has marked his guard and is starting to get settled now, looking around the field to see the 2 slips in the gully, backward points. So the field is going back now at long leg. A 3rd slip is being put in place now. Or hang on, leg slip or
Yeah.
going into the deep?
No,
Leg
I
gully?
think that's going to be, yes, a leg gully-ish.
So leg gully, fine leg, and a deep square leg, 3/4 of the way back. Moeen's first ball here. Shami around the wicket to him. There's some late swing as it passed Moeen and then just ducked back up the slope towards the left-hand side of Rishabh Pant. Well, how will Moeen be feeling, Andy?
Josh Buttler, 23 from 42 balls with 4 fours. This partnership with Root, 54 in just 12.2 overs.
He was replied to my strange question. Quiz question.
Oh, I missed that.
No, well, he didn't miss much.
Oh, okay. Moeen settling over his bat. Leg gully in place still, and Shami around the wicket, gives him a ball back of a length, and Moeen drops the hands, sways, keeps his eye on the ball, allows it to go through to Rishabh Pant. Played in calm fashion by Moeen Ali, who's been making runs for fun, leading Birmingham Phoenix
Yes.
100.
Yes.
I think really enjoying the captaincy. And even Joe Root said that he feels Moeen responds well to responsibility. He talked about being happy to give him as much responsibility, seniority as possible in the dressing room. Comes into the side with 61 test matches behind him. He waits now. Shami around the wicket, in again, shouldering of arms, taking a confident stride forward and letting the ball pass that off stump and through to the keeper.
Found the answer to
Oh, well done. Is it a South African?
David Miller.
David Miller. There you go, John. Sorry, David Miller.
So I've got the answer, but I need to now guess the question.
Yes, very.
You missed the question.
Yes, let's do it that way. Okay, the answer is
Something to do with T20 cricket.
Kyron Pollard
Right.
and David Miller.
Well, that's the answer.
That's
There's
the answer.
pair of them. So some sort of
they're the only two, I think. Wasn't
The only
it? Yeah.
two. Is it something about hitting a 6 at Lords? Around the wicket, Shami, looking to fend it, Moeen. Something on it. It was angled across him down the leg side. Fends it into the ground and no run. 288 for 5, 76 behind.
Okay, well, just another little clue then, sort of. But what sort of game would that have been?
In a 20-20 match, an international. Hang on, so Kyron Pollard and David Miller. So one bowling to the other.
No. It's
Hang on.
tough.
Am I going down the? I'm going the wrong path completely.
Yes. No, played 100 one-day internationals, but never a test match.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
What, the only two to have
I think so.
that up? Yeah. It's pretty good.
It's the only two I could remember. Anyway.
Well, it wasn't such a good game as I thought it would be.
No, it wasn't. It's ridiculous. Actually, it could be anything. Yeah. Hold on a minute. Giraffe. Well,
New over, Ishant Sharma. In now to Root,
Oh.
back of a length, pulled. There is deep square leg. Managed to roll the wrists, kept the ball down through the vacant square leg region out to the deep. Finds a fielder. Takes just one. 127.
there's something like that. It's like a crossword. My wife does it in the paper. It's you're not given the clues.
You just make up the words and write them in.
It's my kind of crossword, frankly.
No, there is something like that. You know what I mean? And then you've got to work out where the answers go. Or something. I don't do it anyway.
Isn't that just a bit of paper?
Sudoku's tricky enough for me. It's a bit like
Not a word.
Sudoku. It's a bit like a Sudoku thing, but crosswords. You know, very
Letters rather than numbers.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult.
Moeen Ali. First ball facing Ishant Sharma, who's around the wicket to him. Fired in on the pads. Defended to mid-on. 3 slips in place behind Moeen. Tough is off to the Oval later on, aren't you, for the
Yes.
double header?
I am.
And actually, the women's match is live now on BBC Two. Oval Invincibles against London Spirit. And also, don't forget the Royal London Cup is on. Yorkshire chasing 318 to beat Essex in the quarter-final. That is live commentary for you on the BBC Sport website and app. Yorkshire are 14 for 1 in the 8th over, so have just started their run chase. Lots and lots of live cricket for you, as well as, of course, the Test match commentary here.
Isn't there? Cricket's everywhere.
Moeen still on naught. He's forward and defends to the offside. Mid-off comes forward to field and no run. Well, he's looked confident in defence so far, Moeen.
Yes.
Nothing has beaten him.
No, he's come out and
Keeping the good balls out.
Yeah, look to line it up nicely. There'll be one where he'll have a little go at it outside off stump. That's the way Moeen Ali plays. And it's a pleasure to watch when he's in form.
Let's see if he gets a ball that he can score from. Sharma at the end of his mark. Pavilion looming behind him, well wide outside the off stump, and Moeen Ali's not interested in that. He'll happily let that one go through to Rishabh Pant, no problem.
Yeah, very watchful.
Trying to remember where I did. I'm going back to David Miller now.
Right.
Did he play domestic T20 here for
Somerset?
say,
Can't remember. Notts? Oh, just...
remember. I just have a feeling I watched him play quite an extraordinary innings at Lords once, but maybe not him.
No. It certainly wouldn't have been in a test match.
No. Well, we know that for certain.
Yeah, we do.
We know that for certain.
Well, I'm looking forward to the quiz, the tea.
Ishant in under sunshine now to Moeen outside the off stump. Ishant maybe just lost his balance a little bit in his follow through, a little bit off kilter after he delivered that ball, left alone by Moeen.
According to his Cricinfo page, David Miller has played for Durham, Yorkshire, and Glamorgan. The only player in cricket history to have played for Durham, Yorkshire, Glamorgan and the Winnipeg Hawks.
There's some pretty good names out there, aren't there? I think like the Canadian domestic league in particular. Yeah. Do we know who's played for the most domestic?
I'm going to go for
teams?
Imran Tahir.
Well, I was thinking about him, in fact. I reckon about 40. Here is Ishant. Tall into Moeen. Drop and run into the offside to get off the mark.
Nice.
Confidently done. Root responding from the other end. And Moeen has opened his accounts in this test match.
That was some celebration, wasn't it? The other day in the 100 when he got his hat-trick.
Wonderful. No more exciting player to watch when he takes wickets. That's 290 for 5, England, at the end of that over.
I think Imran Tahir played at least one T20 franchise competition by Skype, didn't he, while simultaneously playing in another one on the other side of the world. The two batsmen at the crease are the only two for England to have scored 4 test centuries in a calendar year since Alistair Cook did so in 2012. Moeen Ali scored 4 of his 5 test centuries in 2016, including 2 on the Tour of India late that year when he was batting 5 for most of that series, and Joe Root this year with 5, so they're just one short of tying the England record for most centuries in a year by Michael Vaughan and Dennis Compton.
Well, England would dearly love for Moeen to find that kind of form again. He spent so much time up and down the order in different batting positions. He's on strike again now to Shami. Drops his hands once more, drops down onto one knee. Shami drops back of a length, and Moeen, a comfortable enough leave. He reacted quickly, made that judgment nice and early, allowed it to go through to Pant. Decided he wasn't going to play, allowed it to go through. So England are 74 runs behind. Started off the day 245 behind. So we've got 5 wickets in hand. Afternoon to you, Michael.
Good afternoon, everyone. What a glorious afternoon.
It's come out beautiful, hasn't it? Shirt sleeves day, I think, if you're in the sunshine. Shami into Moeen will flash at that. Misses, and it goes through to Rishabh Pant. Aiming through the offside. It's the first flirt that he's had.
Yeah, it's his first attempt, really, of trying to hit a boundary. Just wasn't quite there for that shot. This game's right on a knife edge, isn't it?
Well, a couple of wickets India's way, and suddenly they can look at a first innings lead, albeit it might be a slender one, but it could come down to slender margins. Equally, another good partnership, a couple of good partnerships, and England looking to build a lead. Leg gully in place, Shami angling it into Moeen. He allows it to go past him. Shapes it away back up the slope again, late to Rishabh Pant. No run.
Yeah, it's been a really good day for England so far, but it could all change with another couple of quick wickets for India. They played so well, and they've just been chipping away at that lead.
Only just fathom to me that we're only halfway through the test match. It feels like it's been a long week. It feels like this is day 4. It's still only day 3. There's so much cricket left in the test.
It's been quite eventful, hasn't it? Lots of landmarks, lots of moments. Shami from a little wider of the crease, and he passes the batter of Moeen. He prodded forward to defend. It's a peach of a delivery.
Oh, it's a cracking delivery, this, round the wicket. He's making the ball go up the slope, so Moeen has to play. And the Seamoo, it just passes the outside edge and just misses that off stump. Again, the ball only just carries through to Rishabh Pant, so that's going to be the threat on days 4 and 5, those low balls.
And there's less carry. Andy, what have you got? Watch Shami come and bowl this ball. Moeen awaits Shami in now, full on the pads, deflected, finds leg gully. Straight to the fielder, no run.
I have an answer to the question of which cricketer has played for most different T20 franchises in what's defined as List A T20 cricket. The answer is Tishara Perera, the Sri Lankan, who has played for 29 different teams.
And what's the best name out of all those teams? Or the most exotic team? What part of the world? Would that be the Canadian League, or has he been further afield than
He's
that?
played all over. I think he played a series on the International Space Station at one point.
The Mars League. Moeen's on 1. Last ball of the over from Shami. Beats him again past the outsider. Just a little bit of a prod from Moeen outside the off stump. He's faced 15 balls for his single. Joe Root's with him on 127. Then England are 74 runs behind. 290 for 5 in their first innings. Michael, a few more thoughts from you on this situation, and Moeen Ali and then Jonathan Agnew coming in to see us through to tea.
Yeah, Virat Kohli, he's swapped and changed his bowlers around all day. Different combinations. It looks like he's going for another change. Ishant Sharma's going to be replaced by, I think it's Mohammad Siraj. I can see it's just about to come on from the pavilion end. Sharma bowled quite nicely. It's never easy when he hasn't been playing, and it's his first test for a while. He'll probably get better and better. Probably even better in the second innings, having had an outing in the first innings. I thought Butler was just nearly there, Aggers. I thought he was just starting to get going.
It was a difficult start for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, loose drive, so he'll be disappointed with his shot.
Root, though, goes from strength to strength. And again, you wouldn't have heard Tuffers and I talking. I've drone on about it too much because our listeners will be fed up of it. But he hasn't scored a single run straight. So therefore, why have this field?
Yeah, so have it a bit square and almost say to Joe Root,
and say, go on, there you go. Let's see you play how we want you to play now, rather than how you want to play. But
particularly in this area of the game, that they have so much information. We've analysed it on television. The fact that he's got nothing down the ground, it's revealing.
It comes Siraj and bowls to Root, works that away down to deep backward square leg for another single. Well, it can't be rocket science if Tuffers and I have
that's very true.
Have discovered it.
Very, very true. I've got something for you. A debate. Sir Geoffrey on the screen. That's not my debate.
He'll be boring somebody up there. Who's he got? I think he's with his wife, actually.
No, he's doing the talking.
Looks on good form.
Yeah, he's got that yellow tie on.
Yeah, it's a familiar. It's a familiar jacket and tie.
Yeah, I've seen that on before.
291 for 5.
Which innings do you reckon he's talking about?
Oh yeah, well, probably be Headingley, wouldn't it?
Yeah, still
just 100.
Yeah. Well, she was there in the crowd, wasn't she?
She was. She was. 291 for 5. Moeen is on 1. And Siraj bowls outside the off stump.
So here's my debate, Aggers, and it's only a debate just because we have to talk. Would Test cricket be better if at the end of the first innings of both teams you could have a substitution?
Oh, okay.
So, i.e., England could now think when they go out, we want Jack Leach. And India would go, we want R. Ashwin. Would it be a better game, better spectacle on days 4 and 5?
Well, they tried this in one-day cricket, didn't they? And it was a bit of a disaster. But I know what you mean. Siraj on his way and bowls. Oh, Moeen, has he? No, not quite, I don't think. Very close to it. All arms are raised there. Punt dive to his left. Bit of an airy shot, but again, Moeen hasn't played any of this sort of cricket for months. Okay, well, we can consider that. What do you think?
I wouldn't change. I think that's part of the art of the game, isn't it? The art of selection, of the risks. The thing with cricket is you have sort of substitutions built in, don't you? You can change the batting order of the players you've got. You can change who's bowling.
I would like to see an injured bowler replaced. I don't know how you do it, but it just rather kills a game when a bowler gets injured and can't be replaced. Moeen outside the off stump again, no stroke.
I have an idea for that.
Right.
Which is that the substitute can't bowl for a set period of time after he comes on, so say 30 overs.
Right.
So you could make the substitution, but it can't be a sort of tactical one to get benefit. Because we saw when rugby had only substitutions for injuries, teams sort of played on that. You had sort of tactical fake injuries.
Yeah.
So to avoid that in cricket, so there'd be no advantage to if you couldn't bowl for 30 overs.
Unless it was a spinner. They wouldn't bowl him anyway, probably. Now there's a flowing drive from Moe, not quite timed though.
But cricket, you know, it's generally the only sport that doesn't allow substitutions. And why wouldn't you want to try? I'm just saying, this is a debate.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to try and improve the standard and the spectacle? And I believe in the next 2 days we could be in for a classic, but I think it would be a better spectacle if R. Ashwin was bowled and potentially Jack Leach on the last 2 days on this kind of wicket.
Oh, I see where you're going,
It's the
Michael.
product of entertainment of what we're trying to provide.
Siraj on his way and bowls outside the off stump, and Moe lets it go by. What about a test cap though? How does that work? Is it
Get half.
Yeah, cut it in half.
half a cap? Yeah.
Well, it's like you get an international cap if you come on as a substitute in other
do.
sports. So you just
do.
get a cap. You've played in that game, so it would just be deemed a cap that week.
Yeah. Well, you've opened the debate, Michael. We'll see what.
What was your? You came up with your. What was your? You came up with something at Trent Bridge, didn't you?
That was
the BS.
Yeah, well, that was. Well, it wasn't condemned entirely, but I think I didn't feel that there's huge support for it. Just trying to find something for the bad light. That was, wasn't it?
Yeah, the BS on the screen.
Yeah. Bad light scenario.
Well, we have a long time to talk, so we have to come up with things to talk about.
Of course we do. Mohammed Shami scurrying in from the nursery end. Is there any bowls to Root to get to the leading edge? Looking to nudge the ball away into the leg side. He's got a single down to deep backward point. And walks, surveying his bat as he does so. Making sure that, hoping there's nothing wrong with it, I suppose. It's probably his lucky bat, this one. It's the same one that he used in the last match. I suppose it probably is. They do get through them, though.
I bet you it's a bat that he's used pretty much throughout 2021.
Do you use it in the nets?
I don't know about Joe. I wouldn't.
No.
I'd use you kind of the next batch. You kind of wear them in and just get used to them and get the feel. And you've got to chat to your bat saggers. You've got to be nice to them. Just have conversations.
Sammy bowling, and there's a nice stroke from Moe. He hasn't tried to hit it too hard. He's just planted him down the ground, really. A push through mid-off. The crowd willing the ball on. It's not quite going to make it to the boundary. Pursued all the way down here. And they've run 3.
So you're like what we did at Yorkshire when Darren Lehman used to be our overseas player. He generally averaged 80 every year, and he was always getting hundreds of runs. And I'd suggest maybe some of the England players should try this. What you do is you take your bat that you use and you place it in. So we used to place our bats in Darren Lehman's bag overnight just to see if it would rub off.
I see. He goes Shami over the wicket, bowls. Root turns away to mid-wicket. Quick cry of no there.
So just just to see if it would work.
Did it work or not?
Not always, but it was just look, maybe some of that top order should just go and position their bats in Joe's bag, just for a night or two.
Was there much scientific research done into this?
There's not a lot of science goes into it. No, there wasn't a great deal of science at Yorkshire, to be honest, in that dressing room.
I'm just thinking what Darren Lehman felt when he turned up for work in the morning and found everyone's bats in his bag.
Well, he was fine with it. He wasn't too pleased when he had to carry it to the next game.
Shami over the wicket, bowls to Root as forward, and sending Moeen back there. Loud cry of no. That's fielded in the covers.
You're right, actually, about the field. I mean, just listen to.
This is a waste of time having mid-on and
mid-on and mid-off. Just have them as wide as you possibly can. I remember to a batter at Hampshire, Nick Pothles, who was so strong down the ground and not a strong square. We just basically put every fielder in front of his eyes. So right, you're going to have to place a different way.
Yeah.
You're right. Why not have your mid-off so wide and your mid-on so wide and your mid-wicket a little bit tighter, extra covering a bit tighter, and say to Joe, go on, hit down the ground.
Now here's Shami bowling to him, and that's nudged away through where Gully would be. He's going to get one. And I was saying to Tuffers, I'd always have a Gully for him, even on 100. But just to have that man there, so he knows if he does get that shot slightly wrong, it could be caught, and just have that preying in his mind.
And I'm also surprised that they haven't gone for the bouncer theory to him, because there was a couple of occasions. Siraj ended up getting Bairstow with that short ball. But there was 2 or 3 times that Joe Root went to play the pull shot down the leg side, and there was an element of ooh and an ah when he missed it.
Yeah.
They've just tried to do the same things to Joe Root, haven't they?
Well, they have really. He just played brilliantly. 2 slips of gully, a leg slip as well, as Xiaomi bowls outside the off stump. That's well timed by Moeen. Standing up, playing off the back foot, and he gets 4 through point. Field had no chance of stopping that. Again, I mentioned the outfield, it's so fast. It just flies away. Nice stroke from Moeen.
I think the spinner's going to have to come on.
300 up. So 64 runs in it now. And from having looked potentially rather dicey this morning, England now holding the cards.
Yeah, there's still a long way to go though, I guess, because this pitch is playing at the minute very, very nice for the batting team. And I can't imagine it's going to deteriorate so much tomorrow. So India will fancy, whenever they get the chance to bat, to get some runs on this surface, and they'll hope that it deteriorates into day 5. Spin needs to come into the attack, I reckon.
Yep.
Bit of Jadeja.
He's looking for him. There is in a key field position somewhere.
What have you got on tonight, Agus?
I've been completely abandoned, I've realised.
Back in the nets?
No, I've retired again.
No.
Everybody who is not London based is abandoning me to go to the Oval. All the Londoners will go home.
Yeah.
So no.
Well, you have to tune in, won't you?
Well, I'd obviously be.
Yeah.
Good Lord, wouldn't miss it for the world. Even Tuffer's in there.
Looking forward to it. The Oval.
Stewart closing a door behind there now. So Root's ready again for Siraj. Sun fully shining down on Lords as Root strolls forward there, plays timid on, the ball trickles up to the fielder.
He keeps looking at this bat, he keeps having a look at he's having a little chat with his bat again, just having a look at whether they've got a crack in the middle of it that he's kind of looking at to see if it's so bad that he needs to change it. We're desperate to keep batting with this piece of willow.
I think he will.
130 not out, 235 balls faced.
Still 2 slips there. Siraj scurries in, bowls to him, has run here, turning it away round the corner. Fielder comes in quickly, sends in the return. It's Akshar Patel fielding substitute for somebody down there. And Root takes another one, so 301 for 5.
Who is off the pitch? Is it Ishant Sharma, I think?
Probably.
Just a little more on Joe Root's recent form. As I said, 6 half-century scores this year, 5 converted into centuries. The first 3 of them enormous. They're only including 2 doubles. He'd converted only 5 of his previous 27 50-plus scores into 3 figures, and over the course of his career up till this year, 17 of 66 50, so just over a quarter. So it's been something throughout his career people have commented on. This year he's rectified it in style.
That's an extraordinary year, isn't he? There's Siraj round the wicket, beats Moeen with a really good ball. Angle from round the wicket, coming into Moeen, and then there's that little bit of movement away off the seam.
What did you make of Javo, the guy that came out with the Indians after lunch?
Well,
in his full white.
I was a bit surprised. I'm not sure where he came from. I was just saying goodbye to Greg James, and then I was aware of the stewards coming on. Who was it?
Just a guy. He'd come in. The guy that
he'd come in white.
He's not the same fella, but a similar kind of trick to the.
Carl Power.
Yeah, he came on at Headingley, didn't he?
He did. Were you playing in that game?
No, but I think it was Ramps who got out, and he was.
Yes, I think he came instead of Thorpe.
Yeah.
Now there's Moeen. That's a lovely shot again. A reminder of what we've missed from Moeen. Really, it's beautiful, graceful, offside play in particular. Lovely, languid. I mean, David Gower, who's sitting over there, will be purring at this. It's just so similar. Lovely, loose and stylish, and not much foot movement, but just the way that he drives the ball through the offsides, lovely.
Yeah, pure timing. Yeah, there was. I think the same chap had his picture taken with Manchester United in '99 in the Champions League.
There's a few things. I think he's a bit of a specialist.
I wonder how long it Javo's taken to kind of come up with it.
Yes, he had numbers on his back, didn't he? Moeen again, thickish edge this time, and runs away into the gully. So he just, I didn't actually see it happening, but he just took the field, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he had the full white head boots on as well. He just walked out, and the stewards.
He walked out.
The best thing about it was when the stewards got him, he pointed to the Indian badge as if to say, "But I'm playing for them."
Right.
I thought it was Ravichandran Ashwin.
Well, there you go, the substitute. India made the substitute and they went for Javo.
Yeah, I wish I'd just seen where he'd come from. Why was he his name on his back?
Yeah,
did he?
Javo on his back. Yeah.
Right. I wonder who rumbled him. Siraj bowls short, flashed away by Moeen. In the air, it doesn't matter. Over point. They thumped into the advertising hoardings there, really gave that a bit.
Well, this is why the likes of Moeen Ali are so dangerous to a jaded attack.
Yeah, flagging a bit.
Yeah, they've bowled 97 overs, India, and you're bowling on a slow wicket. Someone like Moeen Ali can come in at number 7 and be destructive and make hay while the sun's shining and the bowlers are tired.
Yeah, lovely shot. A great follow through on that as well. I love watching Moeen bat. Always have. It's thrilling.
Well, I think you've got to do one of two things with Moeen Ali. You either pat the offside and just go, right, we're going to dangle the carrot on and around, 4 stump and bolt full, or you've got to go ultra aggressive and just go short.
Yeah, I think that's...
I think they're in the predicament of not sure which way to go, and it's just that in-between length, and it's so easy on this kind of pitch, that in-between length, it just sits up for you to hit.
Before those 2 fours, Mohammad Siraj bowled 27 balls to Moeen Ali without conceding a run, 21 earlier in the year. Test Moeen played 6 today.
Shami's on his way and bowls its edge. It doesn't carry to slip. And Root takes a single. And that should have carried, really, because it wasn't just an edge of a bat, but he actually put a little bit of a flick into it as well. So that should have carried, really, to Kohli. It landed comfortably in front of him. It just had no pace off the pitch at all.
No, what we had, a couple of slip catches in the Indian first innings. I remember Rahane getting out to 1. Pujara got out to 1, but there's not looked like many that have looked like carrying to the cordon.
No. They're very close now as well.
Oh, here we go. They're going to go offside by the looks of it. They've got cover point on the boundary, a short cover point catching.
2 men out. So he's coming round the wicket. Let's see if he bowls short at him here. No, it's pitched up outside the off stump. So going with your plan. You need a short leg really to go short, and they have all bowled quite a few overs on a sluggish pitch.
Yeah, I think this is a good plan. Try and tempt Moeen Ali with a big drive. Hard on a slow surface, isn't it, to continuously bowl short when you've been out there for such a long period of time.
It is. Shami's into his 21st over. See some notes being gathered beside me. I think the warm-up act is on as far as the quiz is concerned. Shami bowls outside Moeen's off stump, and again he lets it go by.
What's the quiz called again? I guess what?
I'm not sure. This is it was Andy Zoltzman's own creation, this one, I think.
What's it called, Andy, your quiz?
It's called Silly Pointless.
Yeah.
Which was created by Daniel Norcross today. It takes the form of a super over, 6 questions for each team.
And have you got contestants sorted today?
We do.
Where are they from?
We have Mel and Jack from Farnham Royal Cricket Club, and Steve Spready Spreadborough from Odium and Greywell.
Goes Shami and bowls on the leg stump. That's flicked away by Moeen. That'll go for 4 as well. He's really lifted the scoring rate. Dealing, well, exclusively in boundaries, I think. That's 20. All in boundaries, and England are now just 50 runs behind.
He got a couple of singles.
He had a 1, a 3, and then 4 fours.
Thank you.
So what's that chap's name again?
Steve Spreadborough, known as Spread. He's the groundsman.
Yep, Spread. I like it, yeah. There's not a Javo on there, is he? He's not taking part.
I think Javo might be out the ground.
I think he's gone.
I think he'd have been ejected.
He'll be thinking about his next one. Well, what's his next trick?
There's Shami again. Bowls on the off stump. Moeen stands up and plays him away into the offside very gently and calmly. There was a streaker last night as well. I think most people had gone home, thankfully.
Yes.
But, he appeared from somewhere.
I mean, I don't want to encourage streak, but it seems to be back.
Well, that's the first one I've seen for a very long time.
No, in the 100 there's been quite a few. Yeah, it's but there's quite bizarrely there's been quite a few streakers with the clothes on.
Yeah, well, that's probably a relief.
It's not committing to the art, is it?
Well, if you're going to do it properly. I mean,
Does Shami again and bowls, and Moeen defends. Well, I mean, a clothed streaker is purely an invader, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's tea. And again, England's session. They did lose a couple of wickets, Bairstow and Butler, but the captain remains, and he's on 132 not out. So 2 wickets for the 98 runs that were scored in 25 overs in that session. That means that England are now just 50 runs behind, and they do have some batting to come, and they'll now be really disappointed if they don't build a reasonable lead. And from that position this morning, they'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, they've done fantastic. Bairstow played nicely, Butler looked threatening, but it's all about Joe Root once again. What a year he's having in 2021, and with the way that he's playing, I just go back to that New Zealand test on the last day where England didn't chase down that target. I've got a sneaky suspicion that if they get an opportunity to chase something down on the day 5 here, with the way that the captain's playing and probably a bit more confidence with that engine room with Bairstow and Moeen Ali, might be in for a cracker here this
absolutely.
weekend.
And it hasn't spun today. I mean, Jadeja's quite flat, I know that, and he bowled a lot from the other end, but so we haven't seen anything really go yet.
No, I've been surprised actually with the way that Virat Kohli's operated with Jadeja. The fact that he bowled at the pavilion end gives you nothing as a left-arm spinner. On a day 3 pitch, you at least give him the slope to go with from the nursery stand. And I've just got a sense over the course of the next 2 days that Jadeja may have an impact on this game. This pitch could end up spinning. The sun's blaring down.
Yeah.
You can see the ground staff out there brushing away all the dust. I think we're in for an absolute ripper here. I think we could be in for a classic.